Lynn Novick is an award-winning filmmaker, and Lynn has been directing and producing documentaries. As a matter of fact, she's here today to discuss her new documentary, College Behind Bars. It's a new 4-part documentary series that follows a dozen incarcerated men and women in New York over 4 years as they try to earn college degrees through the Barred Prison Initiative, or BPI. And Jewel Hall is also with us, too. Jewel graduated from BPI in 2011. College Behind Bars premieres tonight and tomorrow, 9 to 11 Eastern on PBS. Lynn Novick and Jewel Hall, welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
Great. Thank you so much for having us on.
Hey, Lynn, you excited about tonight? I know this is your documentary. Tell us how this all came about, the research and all, and spending time in prison, all that kind of stuff, Lynn.
Yeah, so the producer of this film, Sarah Botstein, and I had been working with Ken Burns on many, many projects, including a series on Prohibition. And we were invited to give a lecture about that film in a class inside a maximum security prison as part of the Barred Prison Initiative, and that was in 2012. We went into the class, we showed our clips, and we had the most interesting, substantive, thoughtful, and just intellectually exciting conversation we had with those incarcerated students that we had about any film anywhere. And when we left the prison that night, Sarah and I said to each other, you know, this is really, really incredible. We did not know that this was happening. We think the world needs to see what these incarcerated students are doing. And that put us on the path to making this film. Excuse me.
So you're actually facilitating prisoners to get a free college education for free. Did you get any negative feedback about that, especially with so many people who are not offenders having to struggle to pay for college?
Right. Well, I'll just say that Sarah and I made the film, but we don't represent the Barred Prison Initiative, so that's the organization that is providing the education. But yes, I mean, there's certainly discussion about this, as you well know, but we've seen the conversation shift dramatically over the last few years as we reckon with mass incarceration and the cost of our criminal justice system and the unfairness of it and the high cost of college, frankly. You know, college is too expensive, but that's not the fault of people who are incarcerated, who many of them didn't have access to education in the first place.
And Jewel, you graduated in 2011 from the Barred College Prison Initiative. Now, after receiving your degree, how long did it take you to find a job after you were released?
Oh, after I was released, I was working 2 weeks for a job I hated.
Know the feeling.
Right, join the crowd.
I don't have no problem no more.
Good for you, though.
Yeah. Well, what do you say to people who believe that you shouldn't receive degrees as prison is supposed to be for punishment and not a reward? Jewel, how you handle that?
I would tell them to look at this film. You know, this film is an example of transformation and redemption. It shows what it actually looked like. We engage ourselves as well as the material, as well as our past while we're in this program. I will also say that there's a misconception given. I think that the issue is educational access. And we believe that educational access is for everyone, not just prisoners. I think that it's just this film is just showing the power of education, and it just so happens to be in a prison.
And Lynn Novick, you being director of this, and this, by the way, congratulations, your directorial debut. Your first solo.
Yeah,
good.
Yeah.
Are you? Do you have someone narrating this, or you let the prisoners speak, or how are you doing this?
This is a very different kind of film than the films that Sarah and I have made with Ken Burns, like the Vietnam War and Prohibition. In this film, we wanted to make sure that the people whose story it is, the incarcerated students and their families, tell their own story in their own voices, in their own words. So it's really seeing their experiences through their eyes. There's no narrator. It would be very strange to have a narrator in this film. And it's really quite immersive. You really get involved. You get to know people really well. You find out about their families, their backgrounds, what they're studying, their hopes and dreams for the future. And you see them in the process of getting this extraordinarily rigorous education, really, as Jewel said, just being transformed from the ideas, the work they're doing, the engagement with the professors and each other. It's a really inspiring story, and we feel really lucky that we got to know these amazing people, and we're looking forward to the world seeing their experiences. One of the things that we got very lucky with in making this film is that the Barred Prison Initiative has a debate team, and they beat Harvard a few years ago. And I don't know if you remember that story.
Awesome.
It was a big media sensation around the world. They're very, very disciplined, very talented, very serious about debate. And they took on many different colleges, including Harvard, and beat them. And that's part of the story in the film, too.
Congratulations.
Yeah, very good. Well, I'll be watching tonight. And, Lynn, congratulations to you. That's great what you're doing. Your directorial debut, the documentary series College Behind Bars, airing tonight and tomorrow night on PBS. So we'll make sure we check it out, 9 to 11. Joel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jewel.
Thank you.
Have a great Thanksgiving.